Today we're heading to New Standard to try to summon the Grim Captain. So here is our Grim Captain deck, and I'm pretty excited about this one. So the goal of our deck is simple. We're trying to get the Grim Captain on the battlefield as quickly as possible. So the Grim Captain, it's the backside of Throne of the Grim Captain. It's a 7/7 Menace Trample Lifelink Hexproof. When it attacks, our opponent's got to sack an on-land permanent, and we get to put a creature that it crafted into play, tapped and attacking. The challenge of the Grim Captain is we can't just cast it. We need to craft into it with Throne of the Grim Captain. Throne of the Grim Captain, 2-mana legendary artifact. It taps to mill 2 cards, and then we can craft with a Dinosaur, a Merfolk, a Pirate, and a Vampire. So we need one each of those creature types, either on the battlefield or preferably in our graveyard. That's where the milling of Throne of the Grim Captain really helps. So if we can get one of each of those types in the graveyard, we pay 4 mana, Grim Captain shows up, and then hopefully Grim Captain, with its absurd stats, hexproof, menace, lifelink, making our opponent sack, putting extra creatures into play will win us the game. So remember, we're playing standard, so there's no changelings for cheating. So how are we actually finding all the creature types to get the Grim Captain on the battlefield? And the answer is the old-fashioned way. We're playing a mix of all these creature types. And the cool thing about this deck is almost every creature in our deck helps fill our graveyard to set up the crafting of Throne of the Grim Captain into the Grim Captain. So for Merfolks, for example, we got 2 explorers, Sea Note Scout, Jadelight Splunker. So they explore, they find our land drops, they fill our graveyard to prop up our Throne of the Grim Captain. For vampires, we have Voldaren, Epicure, Voldaren, and Thrillseeker. Epicure makes a blood token we can use to discard a Dinosaur, Merfolk, Pirate, Vampire, get in the graveyard for crafting. Thrillseeker lets us sacrifice stuff, also one of our backup finishers. For pirates, Malcolm loots when it hits our opponent, another way to fill the graveyard. Crazy Larson is for removal. And then dinosaurs, we got one Bornhold Dracosaur just because it's kind of ridiculous. And then Trumpeting Carnosaur, we can just discard for 3 damage as a strangle to get it in the graveyard. So the plan of our deck is we're just hoping that we hit the right mixture of creature types by brute force with looting, and by discarding Carnosaurs, and by exploring in blood tokens to hopefully get Grim Captain on the battlefield on turn 4. The other key piece of this is Brass's Tunnel Grinder. So Brass's Tunnel Grinder, it does 2 things. When it ETBs, we can discard any number of cards, draw that many cards. So this is another way to just fill our graveyard with the types that Throne of the Grim Captain cares about. The other thing that Brass's Tunnel Grinder does is if we can descend for 3 turns, it flips into a land that discovers once per turn for free when we use it to cast a permanent spell. So our backup plan, if we can't Grim Captain and that doesn't work out, is we just flip a Brass's Tunnel Grinder and like start casting Trumpeting Carnosaurs and double discovering and flooding the board with a janky mixture of vampires and dinos and merfolk and pirates to win the game. Otherwise, Nahiri's Warcrafting for removal, make disappear to protect our Grim Captain. Hexproof goes a long way to protecting Grim Captain, but Exile Raz, like Farewell, still get it. Edicts could theoretically get it. Mana base, pretty typical standard stuff. And that is Throne of the Grim Captain. That is our against the odds for this week. So let's jump into some games and see just how realistic it is to get a Grim Captain on the battlefield in Lost Caverns of Ixalan standard. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. I will talk to you soon. Need some magic cards? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/mtggoldfish. Against the odds time. We are trying to summon the Grim Captain. Can we summon the Grim Captain? This hand actually might be able to do it. So to actually craft it, we need a Dino, a Merfolk, a Pirate, and a Vampire. And we're playing standard, which means there are no changelings, so we got to do this fairly. Hard mode. Well, another Copperline Gorge is fine. So next turn we can play Throne of the Grim Captain, start the milling. Brass's Tunnel Grinder should help us fill the graveyard. Well, yeah, let's get it down. Hit ya. Pass the turn. Underground River. No, don't look at that. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're way away, opponent. We're way away from a 7/7 Menace, Rebel, Lifelink, Hexproof, etc., etc. It is not close. It's a tricky deck to build without changelings because you need a mixture of all these different creature types. So we still need some lucky milling. Brass's Tunnel Grinder would help. If we can actually turn on Brass's Tunnel Grinder, which Tunnel Grinder, Throne of the Grim Captain, kind of a combo. Souls of the Lost. Okay, well, we will mill ourselves. 4/2. All right, there's a vampire. Creature type 1 achieved. No blue mana, so Brass's Tunnel Grinder. Discard, discard. Actually, maybe we just discard literally all of them. Still no blue mana. Get a counter. So we have a pirate and a vampire and a merfolk. Wow, I guess technically this means, as ridiculous as this sounds, if we just mill a dinosaur here. Okay, no dinosaur. I guess we discard Copperline George. There's the dinosaur. Oh my god, they milled our dinosaur. Oh my god, it's happening. Oh, sweet mother. Oh, oh my goodness, look at this. Oh my god. Wait, is this actually realistic? Is this realistic? Turn 4, craft. Oh my goodness. Yes, we would like to exile a merfolk, a dinosaur, a pirate, and a vampire. Oh my god. Oh goodness. The Grim Captain. The Grim Captain. It's here. We did it. It should probably have haste. Or maybe it's way easier than we think. That's the Grim Cap. That was turn 4 Grim Captain. What happens if they flip this? Anything? They get a writhing necromass, which has death touch. I feel like this has to be a trap. All right, sure. Yeah, that's fine. Flip it. Flip it. So when Grim Captain attacks, our opponent has to sack a non-land, and we get to reanimate one of the things that we exiled. I guess Liliana would get us. Ever-flowing well does not get us. All right. Sure. Opponent mills. They grow the dork. That's fine. That's fine. We got a Grim Captain. Nahiri's Warcrafting. Get rid of this Necromass. Decline. Go attacking. Opponent has to sack something. They can sack the well while they just sack the creature. Okay, in that case, let's take the Epicure, as weird as that sounds. Because this lets us keep descending for Brass's Tunnel Grinder. So discard this, throw in the Grim Captain. Hey, we do have blue mana in our deck. All right, next turn we get to flip that too. Opponent flips. But how do you beat a Grim Captain? Cuts down the Epicure, okay. And that's a Grim Captain. Oh my god, they have Sheoldred's. Okay, opponent finds a way to live, as ridiculous as that sounds. All right, they actually had an answer. Well, okay, so now we got to throw in the Grim Captain. Mill a couple cards. So now we're gonna have to do this again. Play the Xeno Scout. Yeah, we'll keep that just for Cascade purposes. Pass the turn. Flip it. Okay, so now we have our Cascade land. How close are we to doing this again? Dinosaur, Vampire, Pirate. Wait, do we just do it again? Dinosaur, Vampire, Merfolk, Pirate. Well, I actually think we just get to do this again. Again, as ridiculous as that is. Wait, maybe this is like way easier than I thought. Opponent going to blitz a Tenacious Underdog. Sure. So opponent blitzes. Down to 24. Yeah, draws a card. But we untap, we draw the Vampire that we actually didn't need to leave on top. So 1 and 2. Pirate, Cascade. Into a Jadelight Splunka. Mill 2 cards. Craft it. So let's see. Pirate, Dinosaur, Merfolk, Vampire. Wow, this is way easier than I would have thought. I thought this was going to be like super hard, but maybe making a Grim Captain's actually way easier than I expected. Maybe it would be busted if it had haste. Wow, opponent actually, geez, found another Terror Tide, found a sweeper. All right, that is annoying. That is very annoying. Play the land. Thrill Seeker. Into a Xeno Scout. We will definitely keep Carnosaur on top. Back up the Xeno Scout. Do we want to sack it? We hit our opponent. We can shoot him to 1. Actually, you know what? I don't think we want to do it. Let's just pass. We'll keep the big Xeno Scout. Opponent land. I mean, they can play their Virtue, although we've been exiling our graveyard pretty aggressively. I can't believe we made 2 Grim Captains and they killed 2 Grim Captains. What are the chances? Easier to make than I expected, but also dies easier than I expected. I mean, next turn that is annoying. Well, we will snipe you. Well, I guess we should have sacked it. If I had known our opponent would have even more sweepers. Can we even make another throne? 1, 2, 3. Oh, they're all gone. All right, so we're gonna have to win without our captain, unfortunately. Although this double cascading is kind of sweet. Opponent passes. Well, we will make a mana. Trumpeting Carnosaur. Cascade. Into a Xeno Scout. Into a land. Carnosaur. Cascade. Discover I mean. 2023, I mean discover. Voldaren Epicure. Ping ya. Play the land. Pass the turn. Will you just die, opponent? Will you just die? If they have another Terror Tide, I'm gonna... Okay. Goes to combat. Attacks. Opponent's playing a lot of spells in there. Well, I guess they're not playing Goyfs or anything. Opponent gets in mills. So opponent's trying to mill us out. It could actually work. We draw. Well, that is a good draw. Trumpeting Carnosaur. Cast it. Double discover. Brass's Tunnel Grinder. Submit 0. Draw land. Carnosaur. Brass's Tunnel Grinder. Well, I guess we discard the land now. Well, play the mountain. Play that big Ping-ya. All right, opponent. How about 1 turn without drawing a sweeper? I mean, they can't blitz, realistically. So I think we actually just sack the Epicure. I guess our opponent's actually a control deck? We don't want our opponent gaining life from the Virtue. All right, so counter the Lockwain Scorn. All right, opponent, what's that last card? The Virtue doesn't do it. The Tenacious Underdog doesn't do it. But what is this card? Invasion of Amonkhet. I don't think that does it. They get to draw another card, so I guess I could just draw another removal spell. Opponent mills us. Did you top deck removal? Please, the Grim Captain wants you to die. Somno, okay. Wow. Opponent mills us. Oh no, that's a 17-17. Oh no. Oh my God, we do lose because they can attack and mill us. Oh my goodness. We made multiple Grim Captains, multiple. Very early, we had a turn 4 Grim Captain. Didn't man. I mean, so you know what? I guess we got punished just for not being as aggressive as possible with Grim Captain. We got the first reanimation, quote unquote. We took a Voldaren Epicure for turning on Brass's Tunnel Grinder. I guess I wasn't expecting our opponent to have infinite Terror Tides in their deck. That is one of the most ridiculous games of Magic I've played in a while. I don't know what to say. And after all that, our opponent had to do some top decking there. Off this they had nothing. Dead on board of the Carnosaur. They had to top deck off the Invasion of Amonkhet, and then of course they did. And then the reason we're just straight up dead, apart from the Somnophages, we just get milled out by their creature land. I mean, we saw some Grim Captains, but apparently that's not good enough. Against the odds time, we are trying to summon the Grim Captain. Well, I mean, let's turn on the Grim Captain. I mean, we're gonna keep it. Exploring can fill the graveyard. So we have a Dino and a Merfolk. So that's halfway to the Grim Captain. Well, tap land go. We can even discard the Dino if we need to. Opponent planes and passes. Well, play the land. Throne of the Grim Captain. Get her down. Pass the turn. Gonna need another red source eventually for ooh, vampires, eh? Well, let's do some milling. Oh, 2 lands that we kind of wanted to draw, technically. Well, play the land. Do a little splunkin'. Can we hit some lands, please? Great. Well, yeah. You know what? Maybe we just, but then we can't even mill. I guess we should have milled first. You know what? We're gonna keep this. So bad news is, it does mean we don't get to Throne of the Grim Captain this turn. Good news is, there's almost no way we're not gonna hit a land off this, right? Like, it seems impossible that we don't hit a land. Ooh, Roaming Throne, I do love me some Roaming Thrones. Well, we untap, we draw the Tunnel Grinder, we play it. Discard, 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 discard. We're gonna hold on to this War Crafting. Play the land. Voldaren Epicure. Well, I mean, we can make a Grim Captain next turn, I think, right? Vampire, Merfolk, Dino. Oh no, we need a Pirate still. Well, we might be able to. If we mill a Pirate, we can make a Grim Captain. The question is, can we afford to make the Grim Captain, or do we need to deal with this throne? Opponent. Are you gonna hit the Tunnel Grinder? Sure. Well, one thing we learned before is that edicts do exist. I mean, we are gonna double block. If our opponent has shenanigans, that's fine, but we're gonna double block for now. All right, Bitter Triumph, sure. I mean, all this is relatively fine. We didn't get wrecked by the Panharmonicon, so that's good. All right, well, we will do a little milling. No Pirate. Untap. Draw a Splunker. Well, let's do a little milling. Oh, there's a Pirate. Oh, these are the hard decisions. So we can make a Grim Captain. They didn't do anything. You know what? We're gonna make a Grim Captain. We're gonna do it. I think it's worth. Actually, you know what? Let's play this land first. We would rather do it and leave up a non-pain land to play the C-Note Scout. So 1, 2, 3. All right, we're gonna do it. So Throne of the Grim Captain. Craft it. Exile a Pirate, Vampire, Dinosaur, and a Merfolk. Play the C-Note Scout. And pass the turn. All right, opponent. Can you kill the captain? Apparently not as impossible as it sounds. I am still scared of this Roaming Throne. I have a healthy respect for Panharmonicons for some reason. Who would have thought? Who would have thought I would be slightly scared of Panharmonicon effects? Roaming Throne is a good one. Wow, they just pass? Okay, so we will War Crafting the Roaming Throne. Find a land. Well, it's time for the captain. Go to combat. Attack with the captain. I think we just take a Dracosaur here. Opponent sacks. Yeah, let's take this Dracosaur. Opponent gets a 1/1. 7/7 Menace Trample Hexproof. They can't even get it with a Wandering Emperor because it is hexproof. This seems incredibly more achievable than I would have thought. Opponent takes their beats. Well, play Carplusan Forest and pass turn. Opponent passes. Well, go to combat. Attack. We get back our Brass's Tunnel Grinder. We'll take a Malcolm. We will do a little discarding. Draw a few cards. And opponent, they're just going to accept their death. They're going to accept their death at the hand of the captain. This might actually be a thing you can do. I'm actually very surprised. I thought this looked very hard when I was just mathing out this deck. Here's what my brain did. Okay, so I gotta play 4 Grim Captains. And then I need 4 Dinosaurs, 4 Merfolks, 4 Pirates, 4, what am I missing? Vampires, 4 Vampires. So that is, if you think about it, if you played a playset of each of those creature types and Grim Captain itself, that's 20 cards. In a standard deck, you might have 35 non-land card slots, give or take. That's a huge chunk of your deck. So I was thinking it was going to be very challenging. Turns out, not so much. It turns out that flipping Throne of the Grim Captain, if you play a mixture of the creature types it cares about, actually surprisingly realistic. Yeah, let's play the Vampire. This can actually block this Ascendant Pack Leader. It does mean we can't Grim Captain next turn. Oh, mono green? Are we getting mono green? Glimpse the Core. Opponent's doing some ramping. Well, all right. Tap land. Yeah, there's a cost, I guess, to you playing this Epicure on turn 1. So right now we have what? Merfolks and Vampires. Augur of Autumn. And a land off the top. And a Xeno Scout. Was our opponent mono green aggro? Interesting. Opponent passes. There's a Carnosaur. Well, let's just kill this Augur on him, I think. All right, so there's a Dino in the graveyard. Dino, Merfolk, Vampire. So we need Pirate. Pirate's the one we're missing at the moment. I mean, and to stay alive. Mono green, this could be dropping like a Nissa at some point, just making us die. Tribute, that's a good one. Not coming until next turn, but it still is a good one. Gonna go attacking. I mean, we're gonna block. How much do we care about this tribute? Quite a bit. All right, let's Jade Light X1. Mill the Xeno Scout. I mean, we will sack this Splunker to counter the tribute. Besagio, tribute. Well, yeah. We do have to casualty, but I think it's worth it here. We just really, I know what Tribute of the World Tree can do. It can go off in a deck like our opponents. Glimpse the card. I mean, opponent's down to 1 card. Hopefully it's not like a Nissa. Opponent hits us down to 15. Well, play the land. Jade Light X4. If we hit a land, well, that's a tap land. Do we keep the Carnosaur? Carnosaur is good if we're not going for Grim Captain. Yeah, you know what? I think we do. I think we keep it. We make this a 4/4. We can discard the Carnosaur to kill something and play Throne next turn. Ooh, Gruff Triplets. Okay. All right, I'm getting scared. Play the tap land. Pass the turn. I don't know if the Grim Captain's enough here. We know what Gruff Triplets can do, and the answer is a lot. Opponent combat. Get smacked before counters go on anything. Kill another Gruff Triplets. Mill ourselves. Pirate, pirate, we need a pirate. Oh, not a pirate. There's still no pirate, right? Still no pirate. All right, come on, Throne of the Grim Captain. And that's a 9/9 Trapple that we can't kill. Okay, wait. There's still a world, maybe. Maybe? Well, oh, after all of our Gruff Tripleting in Historic, I guess we can't complain about getting smashed there. Okay, so maybe it's not always that easy. Maybe we've just been running hot because it felt like, oh, so it's like second. We always hit all the creature types. That game we did not. That game we kind of did what our deck was trying to do, and we just did not hit the creature types. I guess that's bound to happen sooner or later. You can't always have a Grim Captain. This time we don't have Grim Captain at all, but we can go digging for it. Yeah, let's play the Xeno Scout with our painful lands. I don't think we need another Xeno Scout. Xeno Scout seems pretty good. 1 mana 2/2 or 1 mana 1/1 that draws a land. Either way, it's pretty good. Curious to see if Malcolm can do anything. That's a card that we haven't really seen yet, other than just being fuel for the Grim Captain. Curious to know if it can actually go off. Soul of the Lost. Well, there's a Grim Captain. Well, in that case, I think we just play Malcolm. Actually, no. Okay. So first we go attacking. Now we'll play Malcolm. Can do a little looting in the middle to set up our... I feel like I've seen a lot of people playing Souls of the Lost in decks with a lot of spells, which is weird to me. This cares so much about permanence. I assume your deck would be like almost exclusively permanence if you're going to play Souls of the Lost. How about it? They're thinking about killing the Malcolm by the legs. All right, Bitter Triumph. Discards an Ancient One. Kills the Malcolm. Get in with the Xeno Scout. And I think it's worth just killing this while your opponent can't grow it. I mean, opponent's down to 1 card. 1 card in hand, no threats on the battlefield. So we have a Dinosaur, a Pirate, a Merfolk. We need a Vampire. Yeah, I think we're close enough that this is worth it. All we gotta do is find the Vampire, and we are ready for Grim Captain time. We're close. I mean, worst case, if we don't mill it, we get to play a Bono Dracosaur, which I think is kind of busted. Bono, it's a sure. Well, let's do some milling. No vampire. Untap. Do some milling. No vampire. Well, okay. In that case, let's see how good Bone Horderosaur is. Opponent takes it. We are missing the vampire, right? Yeah, there's definitely no vampire in there. So close. I wonder how good Fanatical Offering is. The map is worse than a treasure, but it still seems very good. I think this is a very strong common. It should see play. It's got to see play in sack decks. Also, what is that guy getting his throat slit? I think he is. Oh, he is the Fanatical Icy. Icy? It's a human sacrifice card. Opponent gets in heads us. Well, Dracosaur. Exiles a couple cards. We get a treasure. Oh, this works, right? So we can play the Thrill Seeker, back up the Dracosaur. Oh, and then I guess we win. Aw, that's not as much fun as a Grim Captain. Well, I mean, we got him. We got him. I guess it was still kind of a sweet kill. Trying to summon the Grim Captain, and, well, this hand doesn't have a Grim Captain, but we do have Brass's Tunnel Grinder to dig for it. And, like, all of our stuff just digs and explores, so we should be able to find it. Opponent planes. Well, let's do Malcolm things. We haven't really got to see Malcolm go off. Maybe this is the time. Kills the Malcolm, sure. Sure. Well, let's just Brass's Tunnel Grinder. Discard the land. Draw 2 lands. I mean, these Splunkers should be able to turn on this Tunnel Grinder pretty quickly. Fabrication Foundry, sure. And Candy Trail. All right, so opponent's probably doing some smithing. Making some constructs, I assume. So far, we have a pirate. We have multiple merfolks. We need the dino and the vampire. I think this Tunnel Grinder, though, should be able to help us find it. The question's gonna be, we'll see what we draw. We can Splunker for 1 and crack the clue. Ooh, there's Carnosaur. You know what? In that case, I think we just go all out explore here. X3. Mill the Warcrafting. Oh! But that means we don't get to descend. You know what? I think we gotta keep it. I mean, we came here to summon the Grim Captain. That's our primary goal. Not flip Brass's Tunnel. I mean, we want to flip Brass's Tunnel Grinder because it's sweet, but we can't mill the throne of the Grim Captain here. Opponent, Demolition Field. We have the Dino. Like, we're actually pretty close. We're actually pretty close to Grim Captaining. At this point, we kind of want our opponent to play a creature so we can trumpet. I mean, I guess we could trumpet our own creature if we had to. I guess they can Demolition Field to make us shuffle. Wow, they're actually going to. Wow, the fear of the captain. All right, I mean, we're gonna take a land. We can't not take a land here. Well, okay, so much for that plan. Opponent grabs a plains. No, they can't. What is our opponent? They gotta just be trying to smithy, right? Like, that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Guess we just play another big Splunker? Opponent 1 to the top. Wow, we drew it anyway. That is kind of hilarious. Well, okay. Sorry, opponent. Throne of the Grim Captain has been drawn. And then I guess we Splunk. Actually, no. We mill first. Mill first. Is that a vampire? Vampire? Pirate. Merfolk. Okay, new plan. Our new plan is just to pass. If our opponent plays a creature, great. We can trumpet it. If our opponent doesn't play a creature, also great. We can trumpet our own Splunker just to flip into the captain. Found it, land. Pass. Well, I mean, we're gonna do it. It's awkward, but yes, we're sure. I know, Arena, it's weird, but we need to do it. We mill ourselves. Craft with Merfolk, Dinosaur, Vampire, Pirate. And the captain has arrived. And now we pass the turn. We flip the Tunnel Grinder. Skeleton Spirit Fire. Look at all that text. There is so much text. Opponent gonna draw a card. I mean, our opponent could have Wraths. That is a possibility. Thankfully, because we got to flip this, here the Brass's Tunnel Grinder, the big value is actually that it lets us leave a Make disappear. Perhaps for the Sunfall. Wow, the tunnel grinder ramp paying off. Candy Trail, sure. Scries. I mean, our opponent could have another Wrath. That is a possibility. We do get to get in the captain hit and probably put, I don't even know. Carnosaur is the most damage. Malcolm could let us start digging for another counter. Larcenist. Well, I mean, step one, get in with the captain. Opponent, what are we sacking? Probably the bricks, I guess. Yeah, sacks the bricks. Yeah, I think we actually just take the Malcolm. Do some looting. Discard this Warcrafting. Brass this Tunnel Grinder. Cascade into an Epicure. Discard the Larcenist. Alright, well, we didn't find a counter, but that's fine. Pass the turn. Captain's got a lot of text, but Indestructible is not on it. Unstable Glyph Bridge. Alright, so opponent does have another Wrath. Well, I guess we can discard an Epicure. We could still draw a counter. It's not impossible. Well, okay. Another Throne's actually kind of fine. So opponent's going to Wrath us down to this Epicure. So we have Pirate, Vampire, Pirate, Merfolk. So we need to find a Dino. That's what we're missing. Well, crack the clue, draw a card. Copperline, George. Let's just Malcolm. Actually, maybe that's silly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just do this X5. We get a big Cascade. We get to explore a ton, or a big Discover. C-Note Scout. Okay, well, that's a Merfolk. That's another Merfolk. We explore. We draw land. We splunk a bunch. Land. C-Note Scout to the graveyard. Malcolm to the graveyard. Throne we will keep, and then tap land. Opponent gonna draw a card and gain some life. How many counters have we milled? We've only used one. Opponent. Fabrication Foundry. Thousand Moon Smithy. Alright, that's gonna make some big creatures. And a Candy Trail. I don't know if we can beat this Smithy, unfortunately. Opponent does some scrying. Thrown to the Grim Captain. So we can't really attack successfully. Well, play the Throne. Mill a couple cards. We still don't have a Dino. We're missing the Dino. Malcolm. Put in hand. No attacks. How do we beat a Thousand Moon Smithy? Alright, so opponent taps in a way that they don't get to use it this turn, which is something at least. Opponent, Might Stone and Weak Stone. Draws a couple cards. Plays a land. Passes. Well, there's a Make Disappear. We'll see how relevant that actually is. Well, let's hit you to 18. Loot. A land. I'll play the land, play Dracosaur. Into a C-Note Scout. Explore. Into a land. I mean, this should mean they don't have a counter, right? Or a sweeper. Why would you do that if you had a sweeper? So I think we're actually going to spend our counter here. Oh no, I'm an idiot. Oh, my stone and weak stone. Oh, I'm definitely an idiot. We could have easily sacked a C-Note Scout. Oops. Well, that's all right. We wanted it in the graveyard for the captain anyway. The bigger issue we're going to run into here is milling out, I think. Cityscape Leveler. Gets a bunch of triggers. Blows up the throne. Makes another huge artifact. I am not sure how we win from here. I mean, I guess that counter, it would have been somewhat helpful, but not even that helpful with the Cityscape Leveler opponent with a big attack. We just can't get in for much damage. Our opponent has these huge threats. Well, sack the clue draw card. How can we possibly do this? Well, get in when Malcolm hits ya. Discard. Opponent's at 19. We somehow need to win with the Thrill Seeker, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know how we can do it. Now, discard a land. 1, 2, 3. Well, okay, play the throne. We're just gonna do it. Play the throne. Craft the throne. Merfolk. Dino. Pirate. Actually, no. Pirate. Vampire. Epicure. Pina. Play the land. Pass the turn. Opponent land. What we're trying to manipulate the game state to is a turn where we get to get through enough damage that we can win with this Thrill Seeker. That is our entire game plan here. I think that's our only realistic way of actually pulling this one off. We've got a bunch of Grim Captains, but our opponent, we're seeing the power of 1,000-Year Smithy. All right, Game Ball. Makes a free 10/10. Yeah, 1,000-Year Smithy is like kinda ridiculous. Opponent draws a card. So the captain does have hexproof and menace. Our opponent has a million 10/10s though. All right, sacks an artifact, gets back exiles an artifact, gets back Candy Trail. Scries 2, can sack it to gain more life. Opponent gets in with a leveler and some 10/10s. Gonna blow up the Malcolm. Well, we will block and block. Drop to 16. Well, I mean, this is it. I don't know if we can do it, but this is our chance. Can we do anything relevant here? Not really. All right, untap, draw, Restless Ridgeline. Well, I mean, step 1, go to combat. Opponent has to sack. Also gonna be close. Gotta be Dracosaur, right? Opponent blocks here. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, it's gotta be Dracosaur. Opponent has Wandering Emperor to get rid of the Dracosaur. All right, so I think that means we don't get to win here, unfortunately. Snipes the Dracosaur. Drops to 12. Well, we definitely can't deal 12, right? We can deal 9, 10. Carnosaur. Oh, make disappear in hand. That's not ideal. Brass's Tunnel Grinder, also not the most ideal. Now I think we might be dead. I think we might be dead. Wait, is there any way we survive? We're at 23. Well, play a Splunker. We just need chump blockers. Play the land. Splunker. Explore once. Keep the Carnosaur. Pass the turn. Wow, we were so close. Well, let's see if we can survive. So a leveler can blow up Carnosaur. We block 2 of them. Like, it looks like on board we survive. That Wandering Emperor, if our opponent didn't have the Emperor, I think we would have won last turn. We went through almost our entire deck here. We got 10 cards left. Might Stone and Weak Stone. Okay. Kills a Splunker. Oh, does this kill us? We know we only block 1 and we die. Yeah, that does kill us. Well, I mean, we've seen the power of 1,000 Moon Smithy. That card is ridiculous. It is a ridiculous card. I think the value of Artifact 8. All right, opponent doing this in the most convoluted way possible. All right, you have... Opponent is obviously on board, but they're doing it their own way, which is sweet. Yeah, so 1,000 Moon Smithy is a card that I think is going to change the cards you need to play in your deck. Like, I think that it is so powerful that the value of things like Field of Ruin, Desolation Field, go way up. The value of things that blow up artifacts, Abrade style effects, way up. We'll see what it looks like in real estate. Like, the card's busted, but when it comes down to it, it does just get wrecked by Farewell. Like, we're in a standard that is just full of these Exile Wraths, so it's very possible that it ends up being one of those really sweet, powerful cards that just actually can't do anything because of the meta, the top of the meta. All right, looks like another artifact deck. Yeah, let's just tap land. So we have our throne, which is good. I guess just play a Malcolm here. Start our looting. So we have a pirate, we have a merfolk, blast zone, and Thran spider. All right, power stones all around. I guess we play a land, run out, throne of the Grim Captain. No attacks because of the reachy spider here. Opponent plays a land. This has got to be another 1,000 moon smithy deck, and we will definitely block it if we get the chance. Wow, you're getting in there? Opponent passing. Well, let's do some milling. Untap. Play the forest. Yeah, I think we just tunnel grind. Discard the C-Note Scout. I really want to hold on to these Carnosaurs. Oh, we didn't hit a land. That's awkward. All right, well, pass the turn. Yeah, we were definitely hoping to hit a land here. We do need to be aware of this blast zone. This blast zone can technically kill the captain. Fabrication Foundry. Sure. Seems aggressive. You got another spider? All right, opponent just hits us for 2. Doesn't this let us get in with Malcolm, though? Well, go to combat. Attack. Maybe they want us to attack here for some reason. Get in with Malcolm. Spring-loaded Sawblade. Sure. That's fine. We do really need to hit a land. Let's play another Brass's Tunnel Grinder. Keep the one that has a counter. We're going to discard 2 thrones here. All right, so there's a land. Play the land. Pass the turn. So our backup plan here is we can flip this and start cascading with Carnosaurs. Or are they going after our Brass's Tunnel Grinder? Or are they going after the throne? Let's see. Duskgrow's Reliquary. Gonna hit the throne. Do we mill ourselves? I think we actually don't, as weird as that sounds. Seraph. Well, all right, we're gonna counter that. Gets and hits us. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. Channel Soken'Zan. This lets us flip the Tunnel Grinder. So the channeling gets the card in the graveyard for the descent to flip the Tunnel Grinder. And now the game plan is do a lot of discovering until we find our last Grim Pharaoh. Ooh, all right, well, I mean, we're gonna keep spending our counters here. This is the backup plan, but it should be pretty... Ooh, there's a throne. Well, okay, we're gonna still do this. Carnosaur. Discover. A Splunker for our hand. Discover. Nahiri's Warcrafting for the spider. Take Beseiju. Play Beseiju. Hit ya. Pass the turn. So do we have enough types to flip it? So we have Fabrication Foundry, Pirate, Dino, Merfolk. We need Vampire. We're missing Vampire. We can just cast a big Splunker, I guess, to get to it. I do kind of wish that Haste. Haste would make this so much better, because you got to do it at sorcery speed. We haven't seen a Wrath yet. We haven't seen Smithy yet. I guess that's the challenge of the Smithy decks. If you don't draw 1,000 Moon Smithy, then you're just kind of playing random artifacts that might not be doing all that much. That's what we're kind of seeing here. Is all the support pieces, but no payoff. Passes. Well, we're gonna play a land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, let's just Splunker for 7. Works pretty well with. All right. Discover a Voldaran Epicure. That is a vampire, though. It's not big and scary, but it is a vampire. Well, now we do some Splunking. Epicure Graveyard. Yeah, I guess we'll just keep this Larcenist. Make this Splunker huge. All right, another spring-loaded Sawblade. The thing is, this can only kill a 1/1. I mean, I guess it's an artifact on the battlefield, but opponent needs something big here. Like, they're just kind of dying to our beats at the moment. I'm not even sure 1,000-Year Smithy does it. I think if they draw Smithy, we can just Larcenist it. Opponent untaps. Okay, there's a Glyph Bridge. So they have a Wrath. That is probably the best thing our opponent could have. We untap. I think we wait. I think we wait one more turn. I think we Carnosaur. So the thing is, we could just go for the captain. We would like to get the rest of the rest out of our opponent's hand first. Like, hopefully this lets us pressure enough that our opponent... Wait, does that let us win? I think that lets us win. Because we can just thrill seek the Carnosaur. And then toss it at you? All right, well, hey. That's another way we could win. All right, no captain necessary. No captain necessary. Against the odds time, we are attempting to summon the Grim Captain. This hand a little light on lands, but we do have the Capitan. I think we have to play Malcolm though, because we would like to loot into some Magic the Gathering land cards. That would be sweet. About it. Llanowar Race. Teachings of the Karen. Well, get and hit ya. How about a green source of mana? No. All right, so discard a Splunker. Voldair an Epicure. Make a blood. Sack the blood. Discard a Splunker. Okay, we found the green source finally. Xeno Scout. Mill the Make disappear past the turn. Old Rustine. Opponent mills the land, goes attacking. Well, let's decline, unfortunately. Go to combat, hit ya. Loot. Discard a Shivan Reef. So opponent flips the Saga. And Seed of Hope. Just a land. Okay, that could have been worse. We might have to kill this, unfortunately. Just because it can exile the graveyard. This Malcolm's getting there. Two more attacks. And we actually got to Omniscience mode. Alright, Squirming Emergence for Tarian's Journal. Opponent takes their beats. We get to loot. You know what? Let's just discard a land. Let's discard the Beseju. Play the land, play the throne. So right now in the graveyard, it's all Merfolk. So exiling a card from the graveyard doesn't get us. In our dream world, we hit with Malcolm next turn and loot away this Carnosaur and play it for free. I imagine at some point our opponent's going to draw a removal spell. All right, going to blow up our throne. All right, that's annoying, but sure. Well, I guess it's backup plan time. Opponent passes. Attack, attack. Do you have removal? Wait, do we actually... Oh! We actually turned on Malcolm. Okay. Discard Carnosaur. Play it for free. That's kind of sweet. We will discover 5 into another Malcolm that we probably shouldn't have cast. Brass's... Yeah, we definitely shouldn't have cast that. Brass's Tunnel Grinder. Discard the land. Draw 2. So many Malcolms. Play the land. Pass the turn. Opponent. Seed of Hope. Alright, finds a turtle. That's something. Discards their hand. Alright, so opponent can cast a creature each turn from the graveyard. None of that kills our Carnosaur, though, right? And none of it stops our Malcolm. This is the Malcolm game. I didn't know this was possible. I didn't know it was possible for Malcolm to actually just get up to 4 counters and go off. Starving Revenant. Oh, I can't believe our throne died. We were so close. Well, it's cool to see someone using Tarian's Journal. Wow, opponent goes to 6? Okay. Turns on Delirium. Opponent passes. Oh my god, that's another Carnosaur. Opponent. Seed of Hope. Mills a couple of cards. I mean, we're about to get our second free Carnosaur. Yes, we would like to discard Trumpeting Carnosaur and then cast it for free. And then discover a bit. This time we're going to correctly not put Malcolm on the battlefield. How about a Voldaren Epicure? Ping you for 1? Well, the captain was dealt with, but Malcolm, that actually worked. We played a lot of games with this deck. First time we've seen Malcolm actually cast things for free, and double free Carnosaur is a lot of value. So what do we learn this week about Grim Captain in Lost Caverns of Ixalan Standard? And record-wise, we were right around 50-50. I didn't actually keep close track. It's early access day. Records don't really matter. The big takeaway for this deck, though, it was actually kind of hilarious. So heading into building around Grim Captain, my expectation was it was going to be really hard to get Grim Captain on the battlefield. But if we did it, Grim Captain was going to be ridiculously going to win us the game. It turns out I was wrong twice. It was actually pretty easy to get Grim Captain on the battlefield. We had multiple games where we just turned for Grim Captain. Like, between our exploring and milling and looting, it was actually pretty easy to get all 4 creature types in the graveyard and just flip into the Grim Captain. The downside is, it wasn't as game-ending as I thought. When you read the Grim Captain and you see 7, hexproof, menace, make you sacrifice something, putting creatures into play, you think, well, this is going to probably end the game. But in practice, it didn't always do that. We had a lot of games where we got an early Grim Captain and then our opponent wrathed us. Or some people had edicts like Sheoldred's Edict to get rid of it. We also had some games where our opponent just did bigger things. Like, we had Grim Captain, but our opponent was making huge constructs with Thousand Moon Smithy or whatever. So it turns out it's actually kind of easy to get a Grim Captain, but the Grim Captain itself doesn't necessarily just win you the game. It's definitely not like an Emrakul style finisher or something where if you pull this off and achieve the goal, the game just ends on the spot. It is very powerful, and it did definitely win us some games. I'm not trying to downplay a 7/7 hexproof menacer. I kind of wish I had haste, though. That's the biggest drawback of it, I think, is you have to craft at sorcery speed. So you get the Grim Captain, and then it doesn't have haste. And then a lot of times if you're Grim Captain on turn 4, you have to exile your random stuff from the battlefield. So it does kind of leave you naked for a Wrath. You don't have mana up for a Wrath. You don't have an extra creature to eat an Edict or something. So I kind of wish I had haste. If Grim Captain had haste, then that would be quite the finisher, because it turns out it's actually pretty easy to make it work. So that's the Grim Captain. That's been our Gets Odds for this week. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.